And as I looked at these two seemingly insane men in the front seat, I remembered that they were normally rather quiet, even shy, spiritual men, good men. And this is what they got excited about doing. Something was afoot. It was kind of like the first time you have an orgasm. You may not know what's going on or even if it's a good thing, but you know you'll never forget it and you think you might want to try it again. My first sweat. And then I thought of all these near-death experiences and how everyone who's ever had one always seems to come out of it with this new sense of power, this new sense of what it is to be alive, this reordering of priorities, this no longer fearing death or life, an ability to love and appreciate life all the more, and I'd always been a bit jealous of those people. I wanted to know what they knew without having to nearly die to know it. For me, the sweat has been about offering up my fear. And at first it was a very physical, can I survive kind of fear, but it's very interesting to go through that. Because when you do, you see all the energy with which we hold on to our fears. And when you let the fear go, you get all this extra energy to do things with, you know, make your life better. Oh yeah, you'll feel very euphoric about 15 minutes after coming out. Yes, Mike. Yes, it is a kind of high. But I'm sure it's better for you than anything you may be comparing it to. Okay, so, and the steam from the rocks is considered the breath from the grandfathers kissing us with their wisdom. Yes, Mike? A Vulcan mind meld? Yes, exactly like that. Okay, so the rocks are in, the door is closed, it's so dark you can't see a thing, it's so hot your breath will burn you, and if you got any claustrophobia issues, this is where you work them out. No. My main fears were freezing, dying of thirst, and being attacked by a bear. I don't know why I didn't seem to fear the mountain lion or the bobcat or the coyote or raccoon or wolf. But see, I'd come across them all before. I'd never come across a bear. And also, I couldn't remember what you were supposed to do. You know, with lions and bears, one of them you're supposed to look them right in the eye, not the other. That causes them to attack. And one of them you're supposed to make yourself as big as possible, and not with the other. And I couldn't remember which was which, and I wasn't sure I wanted to be in a position where I'd have to. The Lakota word for vision quest is hanblechea, which means crying for a dream or vision. Che means to cry, hanblechea, and they believe that if you cry with an intention or direction, that means to pray. Crying for a dream or vision. My little brother said he'd be crying and seeing visions too if he had to go 4 days with no food or water. He thought it was pretty stupid. He said, "Hey, Steph, aren't you supposed to die after 3 days of no water?" Like I hadn't thought of that. And I said, "Hey, Lenny, aren't hot coals supposed to burn your feet? But a lot of people walk on them without a mark." He didn't have much to say after that. I found myself looking forward every evening to the nights before my vision quest when I was making my prayer ties to the earthy smells of sage and fresh tobacco and the opportunity to pray for everyone and everything I ever wanted. Oh, I felt like a kid at Christmas. And then after I'd prayed for everyone, I'd pray for the dolphins and the rainforest and the earth. And then I still had another 100 prayer ties to do. So then I started to pray for people I didn't like. Or people who tried to harm me or wanted to. Like our neighbor who has harassed me for the 3 years I've lived there because I don't park my car to her specifications. And I would pray for her and mean it. And then I'd really start to feel some compassion and generosity. It was cool. So I called my mom to get her reaction, you know, and she'd just come back from this Crystal Harmony cruise. It was a long way. I mean, the contrast, you know, such total decadence versus such total deprivation. mother thinks she's going to hear something funny, so she's laughing along with me, going, what? What? And I know it's getting where it's so funny. I say, no, I'm going to spend 4 days alone on a mountain with no tent, no fire, and get this, no food or water. I guess I'm going to do a lot of praying. And then there was silence on the other end of the phone. And after a moment, I heard my mother say, why no water? Have you asked them that? That can't be very good for your organs. Hard to argue. You get to know that site on the mountain better than any favorite place of your life. You become so intimate with it, you become part of it. You breathe with it. Every tree, pine cone, the way the sun comes through the trees and the wind picks up, every blade of grass, the changing smells and textures of the air and earth and light. And you and your smells and textures are just another ingredient added to this soup. They say that animals will honor the boundaries of your space. And this was tested the first night. Turns out my spot was in the middle of a 4-lane animal highway. Yes, you get thirsty. Very, very thirsty. There is no way to describe the intensity. I was sitting there, taking in the earth and the mother nurturing strength of it, and also female energy, and how the Native American ways had such a strong female aspect to them. And then, suddenly, I saw flashes of every life experience I'd ever had that in any way held or connected to this female or mother energy. Even things that at the time I didn't think of that way. Events, people, places, feelings, things I'd never seen before. It was like a deck of cards getting flashed at me, except I could see and feel each one. And I could see how it all fit together, like this huge tapestry. And I really tried to keep that in mind as it got colder and windier. And on the last night, it rained all night. So now it was not enough to be cold and hungry and thirsty and exhausted and alone on a mountain in the dark. Now I was wet. I felt a moment of panic. The idea of leaving my nest to go face people seemed unnatural. Oh, my body knew it was time to drink water, but still I wanted to ask if I could stay just a little while longer, but I just couldn't imagine them saying, oh, okay, well, just let us know when you're ready. So I reluctantly started to leave my site. This was it. It was over. I felt so grateful, and I still do, for this truly ancient ceremony that celebrates the sacred relationship between the earth and us and the Great Spirit in a simple, direct, intense way that truly does get written on your heart